Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass is heading into a re-election campaign amid budget shortfalls, public safety and homelessness crises, federal immigration raids, wildfires, and now threats from President Donald Trump to relocate the 2028 Olympics. Meanwhile, former LAUSD Superintendent and Deputy Mayor Austin Butner has announced his candidacy. Joining me right now in studio is Mayor Bass. Mayor Bass, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
There's so much on your plate, and we're going to get to as much as we can that's confronting all of Angelenos. But let's start with Austin Butner, because he just threw his hat into the ring last week. And did that come as a surprise to you? Because he's a former supporter. He's raised money for you. He even voted for you, he says.
Well, that was nice to know. And actually, it wasn't a surprise. I was aware. No, I was aware that he was looking, and I believe the last time he was looking as well. So he had attempted to run for mayor several years ago. So no, it was not a surprise.
Do you feel threatened? Do you feel like he's going to be a challenge?
Well, I mean, anybody is a challenge, but you know, it's my job to talk about what we have done successfully and how much more we have to go. And in a few months, in less than a year, we will have the World Cup here. So my focus is on continuing to reduce homelessness, reduce crime, and prepare our city to welcome the world in a few short months.
I know in a statement when you first announced that you had mentioned many of your accomplishments. One of them was the homeless situation here and the numbers going down. Now, just about an hour ago, Mr. Butner was here in studio as well, and he pointed out that new RAND report that came out that said that there was actually an undercount, that homelessness and the crisis is rising in Los Angeles. Let's take a listen to what he had to say just a few minutes ago.
Obviously, what we're doing isn't working. You know, the definition of insanity, just doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. But let's start with a candid assessment of where we are.
Okay, so he's calling for a candid assessment of where we are. Really a look at what's been done in the city. And
so a candid assessment as to where we are is homelessness is down for the second year in a row, and that is the first time in many years. What my focus has been is on street homelessness and encampments, and we have cleared out a number of encampments. As a matter of fact, the RAND Corporation just a couple of months ago reported that encampments were down 50% in Hollywood. If you remember, Hollywood Boulevard, Sunset Boulevard was draped in very large encampments, and those are all gone, as well as in Venice. But one thing that the new RAND study is saying is that, ironically, when we remove encampments, those people that don't go in to motels then become more difficult to count. So one thing that I think is very important, we need to do whatever we can to continue to perfect the count. The point in time count definitely needs improvement, and we need to work on that.
Yeah, RAND basically said that it's more difficult to track the homeless that do not have tents.
Exactly.
But they insist that the homeless problem is getting bigger, that the number is up. Are you disputing that?
Oh, absolutely, I am. And in the same report that was just released, they say that one of the challenges of the count has been because Inside Safe has been successful in removing encampments. And encampments is where you have the fires. Encampments is where you have the problem with crime. And so if you look at the areas where the encampments have been removed, the police, the fire department will report no fires and a reduction in crime.
Well, you mentioned fires, but we just did an investigation a few months ago how the fires attributed to the unhoused, those numbers are actually up according to LAFD.
Well,
do you dispute that?
Well, no, I don't dispute it, and maybe at that point they were. But the problem is that as long as we have people on the street, we will continue to have the fires, which is why I have invested a lot of time, a lot of effort in reducing the encampments, and we have reduced them. We certainly have further to go, but we need to come up with a better system to house people on an interim basis while permanent housing was built. You know, for many years, what we did in this city, we basically said, you can stay on the street until we build you housing. That was a crazy failed policy. We have stopped that policy over the last 3 years.
Well, let's talk about where some of your other efforts has been as well with the immigration raids. So you have gained a lot of popularity with how you've handled the Trump administration on this particular issue. Do you think in the future you would be able to prevent the president from sending troops here to the city again? What have you learned from the first wave?
Sure. Well, first of all, to me, it's not about popularity. It's about defending my city. And my city, our city, was under assault from the federal government, and it was important that we stood up. We were the first city, and the rest of the country, frankly, looked at how we were able to oppose it. But you know what? It's still going on. The volume is not as dramatic as it was before. But tomorrow we're going to be talking about the fact that they are also detaining U.S. citizens. So tomorrow I will officially call for a federal investigation into the detention of U.S. citizens. And I'm working in partnership with the lead Democrat on the Government Reform Committee in Congress, Robert Garcia, former mayor of Long Beach.
So this is breaking news right now. You are announcing that you're calling for a federal investigation into the number of U.S. citizens who have been swept up in these immigration raids, and you believe it is more than 100 U.S. citizens.
Right, and you know, it's important that what is going on now, that we document it, because I know in the future, the government will change, and we need all of the records of the egregious violations of our Constitution that are happening now, so that in the future, policies will be put in place, so this time period will never be repeated.
Well, Mayor Bass, thank you so much. I wish we had more time to talk about everything. We will look forward to seeing you at that press conference tomorrow at 9 a.m.
Thank you.
All right, Mayor Bass, thank you so much for joining us.